You forgive yourself for a lot of stuff that you did, yeah. And I think I had to go to the ends of the earth and hit bottom to really find out who I was.
I began working on this project, I believe, in 2011, at the end of 2011, early 2012. My producing partner, Bo Bassett, he's also a former public defender in the state of Hawaii, and so he had been working a lot in criminal justice issues back at home. And I had seen a clip online of a handful of Native Hawaiians dancing hula in a prison, and as a child and a Native Hawaiian, I grew up dancing hula, and I saw them dancing hula so far away from home, and we immediately felt like this was something important for our community and something we really wanted to be able to capture, these men practicing their native culture so far away.
Why couldn't I have learned my culture while I was outside?
I think I went on a 20-year run. I just went crazy, getting out of jail, doing drugs, picking up charges, and then finally ending up here.
So we've been filming with a handful of men, and started off filming in the prison system, and through the almost 4 years that we've been filming, we have also followed a handful of them on the outside as they reintegrate back at home. And really just thinking about how that cultural identity, how finding your native identity helps you to reconnect with being at home. For a lot of the men of our population that end up in prison, they don't have a cultural connection. And so what we were able to observe was how that learning of who you are and that identity narrative, how that changes you. And what does that mean for you when you try and reintegrate after having been in prison? It's really powerful to find out where you come from. And it's been really humbling to see, can you be a Hawaiian once you come back to Hawaii after being gone for so long?
I never knew 1 ounce of Hawaiian before I even came jail. I learned everything in jail.
How important is it to have these cultural ties, and how do you think as an individual these cultural ties define who you become later in life?
That's always been my heart. I think when I left home to go to college, I always knew where I belonged and where I would come back to. I didn't know when, but as a Native Hawaiian, my identity and who I was always at home. And I know a lot of people talk about this connection to land, and I do think, as a Native, you are Native wherever you are. And it's about the practice and knowing where you come from. But for me also, it's always my compass. I always knew where I came from and where I belonged and who I was, and that's always been kind of a superpower for me. It's made me feel comfortable in a lot of spaces I might not have thought. And I think observing the cultural practice in prison, it's kind of like a way to reconnect with being home again when you're so far away.
I've been locked up 15 years. I've been waiting all this time. I want to come home.
And let's talk a little bit about you and your background and how you decide to go into film, become a filmmaker.
I've decided with this project that the project decided it needed to be made. This hasn't necessarily been an easy thing to do, and this is my very first film, so I've had to learn a lot of things along the way. But every time I feel like I can't do it or I don't know what to do next, somehow it gets figured out. And I have been incredibly fortunate on this project. Every time I think I might not be able to make it, I just think this story has decided it needs to be made, and that my producer Bo and I are just its humble caretakers.
Anything that you want to say to potential filmmakers? Any words of encouragement that you have for them?
Always be true to who you are as an artist, and be true to what vision you have. That was something I was told when I first started this project, and at the time I didn't understand what that meant. Everyone says, "What's your vision? Follow your vision." I'm like, that sounds so fancy. Who gets to have vision, right? It's a really lofty idea, and I was like, I don't know what that meant. And slowly, as you figure out yourself, because part of it is figuring out yourself as an artist, you can do it. It's totally doable, and what you have to say is important. Our country needs that. We need to normalize what voices are out there so that it isn't just one viewpoint on screen. you know, all of our viewpoints are valuable. It makes us a more interesting place.
Anything else you want to add in closing?
Aloha pumehana kākou.